Hello and welcome to episode 10 of Shamanic Witchcraft 101. What is divination and how do I do it? Where does the information that you receive during a divination session come from? What are the best methods of divination? What are the easiest methods of divination? How many methods are there to choose from? Which ones should I be using? Which ones should I be avoiding? These are some of the questions I will be addressing in this episode. And scrying, what's that? Both terms are generally used interchangeably, although scrying is mostly referred to the reading of patterned or shiny surfaces. Now, I have put some timestamps in the description box below for your convenience. Divination is a common practice used by magical practitioners to gain insight into a specific question, event, goal, activity, or situation. Information is gained by focusing the mind onto various tools, patterns, or by observing natural phenomena. So the desired information is then gained or discovered by interpreting those patterns or symbols. So if the diviner has psychic skills, then that is always put to use as well. But you don't necessarily have to have psychic abilities to use many divination methods. For example, some methods will come already equipped with a set of meanings and symbols that you can use for interpretation, like tarot, for instance. You don't need psychic skills to read tarot. If you've learned the symbolism for each card and what it means, you can simply carry out a reading based on that information, and it doesn't mean that you're using any psychic skills, although many readers do, or they claim to. So pendulums, when used on a simple level, can also be used without any psychic skills. You can ask a question and then receive a yes or no answer based on how the pendulum swings. However, if the practitioner has developed their psychic faculties, then tarot cards and pendulums can be used by them to access information on a much deeper level. I'll talk about various other methods a bit later. First, I want to address those who have been following this series from the beginning, because you clearly either are currently developing your psychic abilities or you are not necessarily actively engaging but are interested to know more about the inner workings of the spiritual and magical world. And you might be asking the question, where does this information come from? If you are gaining information on a psychic level, where does it come from? Does it come from the collective unconscious? Does it come from gods and spirits? Does it come from, my higher self? These are questions that, need to be addressed by the diviner, because many people who use divination for the first time and are not that well informed about divination, and it very much depends on the method you're using. You don't always know what or who you are gaining information from. So with regards to those questions, and based on my own experience, yes, it does come from the collective unconscious. Yes, it can come from gods and spirits. And yes, it can also come from the higher self. The answer is yes to all of them. However, who or what you gain information from also depends, as I just said, on the method used, and also if you are actively choosing to address a spirit or a deity, or if your intention is to gain information from the collective. If you are clear at the beginning about what or who you are addressing, then you already have the answer to those questions. Ask yourselves, what are your intentions here? For instance, if you are using divination by pendulum or a Ouija board, or if you are scrying into a bowl of water and you are asking for spirits to step forward and engage with you. Then don't be surprised if just any spirit turns up. It's not good practice. You wouldn't simply open your front door and ask any random passerby from the street into your home to actively engage with you, because you don't know them. And this is exactly what your spirit guides are for. If you're building relationship with your guide or guides, then they are going to hold some authority over what spirit is deemed fit to engage with you. And so it makes sense, if your intentions are to, say, explore and meet new spirits, to build relationship with a trusted guide first, who can, metaphorically speaking, guard the gate against any unwanted stragglers, who may just want to create chaos in your life or have a laugh at your expense. You can also actively choose to just ask your guides questions. If you're new to this channel and this series and are interested in more information on building relationship with spirit guides, then you can watch the series from the beginning, where I have already explained a fair bit about this in previous episodes. So, with regards to divination, it does help a great deal, and I firmly believe, you will gain better results if you set specific intentions as to what or who you are addressing first. Let's move on to methods. So which methods should I be using? What are the best methods? The simple answer to this is relative to your own preferences. What methods are you drawn to using? Use methods that you are interested in, the ones that fascinate you the most. Try out various methods and you will find that some will work better for you than others. Always go with the one that you feel you can read and work with the best. You might find that you excel at 1, 2, or even 3 methods over others, but I think most people ultimately go with 1 or 2 methods and hone their skill in maybe just the 1 or 2 methods and get more proficient in them as the years go by. So, you might take to tarot or runes like a duck to water, or find that you're just not getting anything from a pendulum. So, in the beginning, it's all about testing out the different methods, and there are a lot of them out there. There are countless methods of divination, divining by sand, by reading flowers, encounters with animals, by weather, by reading smoke or ash, by dripping wax, by casting bones or reading bones, by the flames of a fire or candle, by clouds, by dreams, by reading patterned surfaces or studying the behaviour of animals. There are also many gruesome or downright strange methods, such as bodily fluids, dripping blood, studying entrails, by the howling of dogs, by reading animal or human excrement, and so on. I think you get the picture. So you can use pretty much anything for divination or scrying purposes. If you want to excel in any form of divination as well as with anything in life, you have to practice regularly. So whatever method you choose, tune into your intuition, activate your psychic faculties, as I've outlined in previous videos, and practice regularly. So find out what works best for you. Maybe you are into palmistry or numerology or astrology. Yes, these are all methods of divination. Astrology also being a scientific method of studying the planets and the stars and what they are doing to gain insight and to answer your questions. It can also be used in conjunction with your psychic abilities. So Astrology is one of the more popular methods of divination. It is a vast subject that involves much study and practice, and there are many differing branches that centre around the study of charts. So natal astrology is centred on the analysis of a person's birth chart. Mundane astrology is used to help predict world events and economic climates, including the movement of stocks and shares and so on. So many business people do consult, reliable astrologers, and synastry deals with the analysing of relationships. Now, I'm not sure if I touched on this topic in one of my previous videos. If I have, then forgive me for repeating myself, but astrology is an excellent tool for discovery of the self. It can be used as a guide to unravel your own psyche, ultimately as an aid to better understanding yourself. So a key aspect of psychic development and self-development on a spiritual level is to attempt to know yourself better. You can find a reputable astrologer and get an in-depth chart done to find out some key information on your character that you might not have previously been aware of. So you can take the time to read it and study it, and then find another reputable astrologer, and get another birth chart done and read that. How does it compare with the first one? I've had several charts drawn up by, several different astrologers in the past, and they have helped me a great deal, especially at the beginning of my spiritual journey. So that's something to think about. If you are interested in astrology yourself, then by all means go down that road, and then you will soon be drawing up charts of your own. If I had been inclined towards mastering astrology, I would have drawn my own chart, but astrology isn't my strong point because I chose to invest my time in other things. I do know a fair bit about astrology, but that doesn't make me a professional astrologer. So I chose to use the services of those who specialise in that area. And just like getting a second opinion of a health concern from the doctors, it is advisable, to look at things from more than one point of view. And so I have different charts from different astrologers. So astrological charts are a great help for anyone starting out in spiritual and magical practice, because they help you to understand exactly who you are, what you're about, and where you are headed in life, or where you could be headed in life. Now, what methods of divination do I personally use? When I first started out, I discovered I was using divination for a long time, and I didn't even know it. I had all these patterns on my bedroom walls and ceiling, and I used to lie on the bed and scry into those patterns, and some of the things I saw, were answers to questions or relative to things that had just happened or were about to happen. I would see a lot of random people or spirits in those patterns, symbols, and even words or letters. And I did that for years before I even realised that it was divination. And so reading random patterns is my thing. I also took to reading tarot extremely quickly, and I always take note of animal behaviour and the animals I might chance upon, and that also includes, insects and birds and what they might be doing. I sometimes use runes or crystals, but reading patterns or tarot or oracle cards, they are my three preferred go-to methods. The reading of patterns, you can pretty much do that anywhere. You could be walking down the street and think to yourself, I have a question. And, you can easily look at the patterns on a wall or the pavement or even the back of someone's jacket if you happen to be standing in a queue or whatever. It works for me. although it is advisable to not stand and stare too long out in the public, or you might get a few funny looks. Mummy, why is that lady staring at the wall? I promise you there is method in my madness. So with regards to chancing across certain animals, that could also fall into the realm of omens. Now, is a chance encounter with a black cat or a black dog a bad omen or a sign of bad luck? Omens are something quite different, and I am going to leave that topic for another episode because I do have experience with omens and I have a lot to say about the subject. So do give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and please do subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so, and hit the bell for notifications of when I post my next video. I am the Red Lady, and I will see you soon.